Hey guys, thanks for jumping in. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes while everyone gets on. It can sometimes take a couple of extra seconds to load for some people, but while you're jumping on, if you can hear me, add a little message in the little chat option, just so you can let me know that you can hear me okay, and that you can see the big green getting ready for verification slide up here as well. Cool, I'm just going to pop my camera on too. Cool, I see the chat's coming through. While we're waiting, what I thought we'd do today is I'm just going to add a little poll. It's literally got 2 questions in here. I'll add one at the end of the webinar as well, but there's always a couple of minutes at the start while we're waiting for people to jump in. So feel free to just vote up on the poll here. Awesome. Oh, cool, there's heaps of people jumping in. Yes, sweet, easy. Okay, we'll just give it a couple more seconds because I know there's quite a few of you guys jumping in today. It is the hot topic, is verification. Also, if we do have any Aussie viewers today, it's awesome to have you guys on board as well. We've got a bit of a mix of a few different countries here. This one's basically, because the products do look slightly different as you guys run off different types of food control plans or food plans. I'm doing a demo in the New Zealand account today. If you've got any questions about things that might look different, just flick me an email afterwards and I'll be more than happy to give you some information that's more specific to you guys. Most of it does kind of cover both accounts, but majority of it is NZ based, so I don't want you guys getting confused. So feel free just to flick me a message and ask for help and I'll be able to jump in and give you some advice from there. Sweet, thanks all for jumping on that poll, that's awesome. Cool, that's looking good. Easy, all right, I might just end that poll. Oh, we might just leave that waiting there. I'll end that one now. Cool. Great, so I'm just going to get straight into it because there's a lot to go through when it comes to this topic. But obviously we're doing a webinar today on getting ready for your verification. So I'm not giving any actual food safety advice out here. That's something you can probably talk to your verifier or auditor about. But this is more about how to get your Safe Food Pro account ready and make sure you know you're doing all the right steps in terms of how to find the forms that you need to be completing, and then also what to show your verifier or how to actually get ready for the verification day and what to do when it gets to that day. Best thing is just to make sure you're nice and prepared. That way there's no stress on the day and it's just super easy and seamless from there. What we have found recently, which is really cool, is that verifiers are becoming a lot more comfortable with Safe Food Pro, and there's a lot more of them out there that really know how to navigate around it. But the reason we put this webinar on is that just in case you find a verifier that hasn't yet come across it, that way you guys really know how to find all the information you need to show the verifier what you need to on the day. Yeah, so there's no point doing all the hard work if you can't then show them what you've done. So best thing is just to make sure you've got a really good understanding on how to find all the forms and show off all the reports that you've completed from there. One quick disclaimer before we start is, or just a little note, we have done a release recently as well. So make sure you do have your app or your tablet or your phone up to date with the latest release. You can always go onto your App Store or Google Play Store just to make sure you've got the latest update. And always you can turn on your phone to get the automatic updates as well, so you don't have to worry about being on an older version. But you might see a couple of new features that have popped up as well. We did send out some release notes, so if you didn't get those, just flick me a message and I'll be able to send them out to you or give you some more information on the features as well. Final little thing is we have got the chat button here, which I saw a couple of you guys jumped on and said hello. If you've got any questions today throughout the webinar, there is a little button that says Q&A. So pop your questions in there and then I'll be able to jump onto them maybe as we go if I can multitask enough. But if not, I'll be able to jump onto them at the end for the Q&A session. So please don't be shy. That's what we're here for, is just to ask and answer all of your questions. So fire away. Cool, so I'm just going to get straight into it in terms of how to prepare for your verification. So I'm going to spend a lot of the time in the admin console today. And so this is the computer side of Safe Food Pro. So it's on your web browser, on your laptop or your computer. And this is where you'll do a lot of the work when it comes to prepping for verification and the actual verification day. So you should all be able to see my Safe Food Pro dashboard right now. So let me know if you can't in the little chat. But this is what we're looking at right here. So what we've prepared for you guys is a little verification pack and a verification checklist. It'll give you some information on steps you can go through before verification, just to make sure your account's looking really good and you're kind of checking off all the things you may not have thought of when you were previously doing it on paper. So a couple of ways to find the verification pack. Obviously, you can either just email me at support@SafeFoodPro, or you can jump onto the little help icon down the bottom. Just click on that. And then you can just search for verification pack, or just search for verification. Just comes up here. And then you'll be able to click on it straight away to open that one up. So if I click onto this tab across here, that's the same little verification pack here. So you should be able to see the article. This one here then just takes you through some 6 easy steps just to make sure that you're ready. So the first one takes you through a verification checklist, which I'll go through in just a second. Then there's some information on how to understand the reporting side of Safe Food Pro, as that's the main part you do during the verification, or the main part you use, as well as making sure your My Business section is ready and your staff are prepared and things like that. So this one's a really good one to work your way through. But what we're going to do today is basically look through the verification checklist and see how to look through that in your Safe Food Pro account. So this checklist is found in the support library here. Takes you through multiple steps just in different sections, just to make sure you know and you've gone through and checked everything. You can also find this checklist on the app. It's scheduled by default as an ad hoc form, so it's found by clicking that little green plus button on the app. I know what some people also do is they schedule it to show up maybe every 3 or 6 months in the app, and that way it gives you time to be proactive about it. So you can do almost like a mini verification, a mini audit, just to make sure that you have been doing these things, you haven't forgotten to do anything or missed anything out. So there's sometimes no point looking at this the night before the verification, because if you have missed something, there's nothing you can really do now. So best to kind of be proactive about it, keep you and your team on check, and then you can work your way through this. I also recommend this to people who are new to Safe Food Pro. Say you've been using us for about a month or so now, you're feeling more comfortable with it. You can go through onto the verification checklist and look through to make sure, now that you know how to navigate around everything, that you're doing the things that you need to be as well. That way, if you do have any questions, you can message me at the start of your Safe Food Pro journey, as opposed to the week or the day before your verification. So yeah, that's this one. So the first one here says to check your daily, weekly, and monthly form completion is at 100%. So I'm going to go back on the dashboard here. So you should all see my Safe Food Pro dashboard now. Again, let me know if you can't. But this is where you'd log into. So this is the admin account. You'd go up here. And so we want to look at maybe say the last 3 months, or say I did a check a month ago, I'll just look at the last month. So I'm going to change my date range up here to custom. And I'm going to look at, say, let's just go back to like the 6th of November. So you can do whatever bigger date range, bigger or smaller if you want to. And you can just see that the forms have been completed. So my store here is a fake example, but we're closed on the weekends. So these aren't showing with any stats here. And then these ones here are all looking at 100%. So that's looking really good for the daily forms. Looks like I need to do my weekly forms here, and the monthly forms just for December is what's showing here, as there's no completion on these ones. You can see these are my fridge temperatures and freezer temperature statistics here. They're looking pretty good. We have one spike here, and we can have a look further into that in the reports page in a minute. You can also then have a look down at your certificates and permits and maintenance kind of results as well, just to make sure that everything's up to date. So you can see the red ones here mean that they've expired. So what I need to do is I need to go and update those records. Then they're all current and up to date. So certificates and permits, I'd go back to the certificates and permits page and update the records once I've updated the first aid certificate. So that's the first thing to do on your dashboard. From here, what you can do is basically work your way through your account. So if we start on the My Business section, here is all of your business details. So you just want to go through here, have a quick once over. You set this up when you first start your account, so it doesn't change drastically too much, but you can go through here and make sure all of the business details are correct. You can then also make sure your last verification date is in there and your next verification date is in there as well. That will then help prompt you on the dashboard of how long you've got until your next verification too. You can then see there's the operator, manager, registration details that you can add in here. But if you scroll down to the food plan question summary, this gives you a list of heaps of questions in here with yes or no's next to it. And these are the questions you would have gone through when you first set up, when you went through our setup wizard. So these questions are all here. It's good just to have a quick once over and make sure they are still correct and that you haven't changed any of your processes or changed your food control plan since you first set up your account. So it's good to have a look over that first as well. If you find that has changed, what you'll need to do is you scroll up to the top and you'll go across to your food plan details page. So this is something else you need to check. If this has got a little to do next to it, it means you've got a box on here that you haven't yet ticked. But this is basically showing how you tailor your food control plan. So it's showing, how you guys manage and control your pests, how you deal with incidents, how you improve your cooking method, things like that. You can also update and upload your business layout plan here as well. If you did need to change the yes or the no answers in your questions from before, you can do that by clicking the Edit Food Rules button here. And this takes you back through that wizard that you first went through when you set up your account. That way, if there is anything you need to change, you'll just go through and select the right answer for that question, and it'll update your account from there. Sometimes once that's done, you do need to go back through this page just to make sure they haven't added any tick boxes that you might need to update since updating your food control plan. And then from there, you're usually good to go. So that's the next one. You can also go through and make sure your close dates are all up to date. So maybe we were closed for lockdown or things like that, you can add in those in here just so then it takes away from your statistics and your reports, showing the correct ones of when you were closed and when you were actually supposed to be completing your food safety forms. Cool. From here, the next thing you do is go down to staff and users. And what you just want to do is just have a really quick once over check to make sure everyone here is current, so no one's left the business since you've added them in. If they have left, all you need to do is just click the delete button. That just archives the staff member. You can always bring them back by clicking include archive, and you can bring them back in there. If you delete them, it just shows on your report as the date as they had departed the business, and it shows the date you deleted them on as the date they departed. It still keeps all of their training records and stuff in here as well, but it's just good to clear it out. Then you've just got a updated version of who's actually working in your business at the moment. While we're here, what you can also do for verification is set up your verifier as a verifier user. So there's a couple of ways to go through the actual verification day. What you can do is either just print off the reports or email the reports straight to your verifier. But I find the best method is to set up your verifier as a verifier user. That way they get sent their login details and they can log into your account remotely with a slightly restricted access. That has a lot of benefits, and I'll show you that in a minute. But what you just need to do here is you'd click the plus button, you'd add a user, so it's the one with the square icon here. And then you just set them up with their email address and password. So you can always have a talk to your verifier to see which method they'd prefer. And then if you just ask for the best email that they'd like to log into your account with, they'll give you the email address. You can set the password, set the role here from tablet to verifier. And what that means is they basically won't be able to see payment details. They can't add or edit any staff and user details. And then they've got a restricted access on the app, so they can't fill in forms or anything like that. You can then add their first name and last name. And that's basically all you need to add. You can add more information if you want to, but keep it simple. And then from there, what they get is just a reset password link so they can set their own email. Set their own password, and then a bit of information just saying welcome to Safe Food Pro, just as any of your other users would have received as well. From there, that way they can log into Safe Food Pro in their own time, have a look through your reports when they're ready, and then that'll hopefully make the verification day and process a lot quicker for you guys as well. Obviously check with them first to make sure that's the method they want, as it's about working together to make sure it's seamless altogether. Cool. So that's a really, really good option, and I'll show you why that's a really good one to take. But you just add them here from the staff and users page. The other things you can do when you go through your checks, just make sure the supplier's details are all up to date. And again, if you're not using them, you can delete them out. Same with equipment. You can make sure all the equipment details are up to date. You can also make sure the maintenance is all up to date. If you are due for maintenance, you just complete the maintenance form on the app in the little ad hoc section. That will update it, and then you'll get the maintenance checks are all done. You're all up to date. Cool. Final little thing here, when you're checking your account is set up correctly, the only thing when it comes to forms I'd probably recommend is just checking that your cleaning forms are all edited. So we give you guys a really stock standard version of your cleaning forms. It's really good just to jump in there and edit them to suit your business. So you're doing the correct cleaning checks that are relevant to you guys, as opposed to the ones we've just given you. If you want some more info on editing the cleaning forms, I've actually done a webinar on that one as well. So just flip me a message and I'll be able to send you some info on how to edit those cleaning forms to suit you guys as well. But yeah, you can go through, have a look, make sure you're filling in all the correct forms that you're supposed to. But most of this stuff is pretty stock standard in here. It's just about customizing those couple of forms that to make them slightly more business specific to you guys. So that's a lot of what you need to do in terms of your account, the admin side, the business details side. When it comes to verification day, you'll then look at all of the reports. So that's what we're now going to look into now. So I jump over to the reports page. So this is what you'll do on the verification, or your verifier might do. But it's really good to have an understanding of how to look at it. So you can also have a look at it before you get to it. Say you have that verification checklist in front of you. You want to look through everything to make sure you've been doing everything as expected, or your staff have been doing everything you've told them to. That way you've got a really good grip on it. So what we're looking at here is the summary reports page. If you're an Australian customer, yours might look a little bit different to this. So just flick me a message again if you're getting confused, and I'll send you some more info. But the first thing we'll look at is the summary report here. And so what this does is it grabs a lot of info in your account, and it puts it together into one nice big summary report. So I've preloaded mine for you guys, as it can take a couple of minutes to load. As what it does is it goes through your whole account and gets everything, all of the data put together. Cool. So once it's loaded, it looks like this. So I can see at the top that my report's pulling from the 1st of May to the 2nd of December. If you need to update that, say that's going past way too far back, you can change that in the My Business section where we looked before, where you can change your last verification date. From here, it breaks it down into different sections based off the food control plan. So it's got the different colors and the different sections in there. So setup points to the My Business section we were looking at before. So if any of these details are wrong, go back to that My Business section and change those organization details. From here, you can scroll down, you'll see it's got the business layout section here. So it's got that part that you can upload from the organization details. And then we get into the content of the form. So you want to check that all of this is up to date and correct. So we'll go and look at staff training first. So you can see these are all of the staff members that I've had in my account so far. And you can see their training type here. You then just scroll across just to see more information of what the training is. So here you can see, if we look at, let's look at this one, we can see Helen's here. She was a manager. She started on the 24th of July. She's now departed. So that means I've deleted her from the account because she doesn't work here anymore. But when she was here, she did training. She did the specific training form that specialized in the starting section of the food control plan. We use the food control plan as a reference there. And then she was trained in the fridge temperatures. If I then want to further look into that, you click the little view icon and it'll open the form up directly. So you can see way more information there into what she was actually trained into. So that's why I always recommend to set your verifier up as a verifier user as opposed to just sending off the reports, as they get a little bit more visibility here into being able to drill into each little form. Otherwise, they just get sent this whole report without each individual attachments as well. Cool, so that's the staff training. It's good to check that that's all up to date and your staff have all been trained. Then takes you into a starting section. So this takes us through, we've got staff sickness records here. Again, you can scroll across and drill into those there, or you can open up the report separately by clicking the little view icon here to get the whole staff sickness report. Same with your daily pest checks, you can have a look through there. Your pest visits from pest control, if something went wrong with your pest checks, you can see these have all gone in here. I have one recently, so if I click on that, you can see that Pam's pest control came in here and there weren't any signs of pests. So it just gives you a lot more visibility. You can see daily opening checks, all of your temperature checks in here. And then it takes you through different sections. So you want to have that checklist in front of you and then go through all of these sections here. So I want to make sure I'm still doing and recording my deliveries. It shows your chilled deliveries that are selected here. Making and cooking, this shows the proving cooking methods that I've completed. And it shows if I've added any blue notes or follow-up actions as well here, because these ones are showing up in red. So it's just something to keep an eye on. That's all looking good. You've then got your cooling food checks in here as well. So it's really good just to work your way through this report, just to get that full understanding on what's actually happening in your account. Finally, you've got the closing section. So cleaning tasks, summaries, maintenance is all in here as well. So it's got quite a lot of information in here. The last section is the troubleshooting. So if you're looking at complaints, you'll be able to see everything that's gone on in the business. Say there's a blue note added, you'll see that little blue note there, and then you can drill in to the form further from here. So you can see the blue note was made at the top. Cool, so that's this verification or the summary report here. If that doesn't have all of the information in your account that you want to see, you may be using some custom forms or some forms that just aren't in that report. So you may want to go across to the form reports page. So form reports is basically a reporting page that gives you a report on every form in your account. So if you guys are an account that uses a lot of custom forms, so you've got lots of different cleaning forms, or you've built your own training forms or something like that, you might not find them in the summary reports page, but you'll find them in the form reports page here. So first thing you need to do is set the custom date range. So either this month, or you can go back. So I'll use that same date and go back to the 6th of November. And from here, you can see how many of those forms have been completed and the form names across here. So if I have a scroll down, you'll see all the forms in my account. You can also, as a new feature in our last release, can see if a blue note's been added in that date range to one of those forms by the little blue note icon on the side. So say I want to drill into one of these a little bit further, my verifier might not have seen one of the reports in there and they're asking for more information on another area. A good example of that might be COVID training. I'll go and click and find the COVID training form. You can even search up here for it. And then you can click the little green page icon to open that report up. So from here, you can see that one form has been completed for the COVID training. It was by Suzanne. And then again, you can click on the view icon to drill into it further. So you can do that with any report here. This is also good, say you get some corrective actions from your verification and they want to just look into one form. If you want to send it off, you can either tell them that you've, say you might have needed to fix up some of your training. Your verifier could say they want to see information in 2 weeks that you've fixed that up. You could then come on here and send them off a report or tell them to come here if they've got the login and they can look for it just by drilling straight into the report from here. So every form is in here. Even if I want to just look at my daily pest checks, I can click on it here, opens up the daily pest check report, and you can see everything that's going on here. Cool, so it's really simple, super straightforward from there. If you just want looking for one individual form, you can go to the completed forms page. So let's just say I know that one of my daily pest checks had they found a pest or some traces of a pest on site. I want to have a look into that. I'm going to search up here for my pest checks. I'm going to find the date that I was looking for. So I know it was completed at 7/26. And then I'm going to open this form here. I can then see that we've added a blue note to this form. So there's been an observation that's been made that they've called pest control. And then you can also see a follow-up action has been made. So an action was assigned to Sammy. It's been told, she's been told to complete a visit from pest control form when they arrive, and that this has actually been completed. So I can then further verify that by then going and looking for the visit from pest control form. And I can see that she was right, that this form was completed on the 1st of December when pest control came and everything was all good. So it's closed that little corrective action loop there. Cool. Final little reports page is the completed calendar one. And I find this one's really good when it comes to verification prep. So you may want to log into your account, set the date range, then go across to the completed calendar. You can then have the checklist in front of you either on the app or printed out or on a different screen, and then go through the pages here. So here's my December view. Obviously it's early in December, so you can't see too much, but you can see we were closed today, but we've done a couple of extra checks. You can then see on here that we've done a visit from pest control form. We've done 5 out of 5 of our daily forms, which is good. And you can also see the same form we're looking at before has a red follow-up action by that red line at the top and a blue note by the blue line at the bottom. And again, you can click on the icon there to open up that form. If you do want to send one of these forms off, you can either do the little print icon or email to send that form off straight away just as a PDF if someone wanted to see that one form. You can then change, so I'll go back to the previous month and you can see all of the information in here. So you can go through, make sure everything's looking good and they've done everything that you were expecting. You can see the closed dates are all set up correctly. There's some staff training done up here and cleaning checks, etc. So it's a really good one just to have a nice overview as a calendar to see what's been happening on the day-to-day in your business as well. So yeah, those are some really good tools to go through and make sure everything is looking good. And then once you guys have a good understanding of it, you know your account's looking really good, you can set up the verifier as a verifier user. You can even send them some information on how to use it. I'm more than happy to send you guys some resources to send off to them. And that way they can jump in their own time and have a look at your account. Or you can send off the reports and send off that summary report to them so they've just got one big PDF that you've emailed off to them. So those are the options there. Once the verification's happened and they've had a look through, hopefully they're really happy with everything, but they might have a couple of corrective actions that you might want, you might need to work on over the next month or next 2 weeks or so. You can log these in your account using the little message icon up here. So if I click this, you can set yourself little actions or tasks. So if I click on this little message icon here, I can make an action and I can either assign it to me or I can send it to everyone if you need everyone to be aware of it. And that way I can add an action and use the little tick button to tick those off once we've corrected them. Or you could also add a message, say you might need to train your staff in a new area. That's something that's come from your verification. You could go, hey guys, we've made a new training form. Please complete this. You can then attach the form, find the training form, say it was this one, and then either send it to everyone or send it to one person in particular if it's just one person that needs to do that form. That way it just keeps it all in the system as well when you can keep track of everything that's gone out and that's coming in here too. Yeah, that basically covers a lot of things when it comes to verification. I know there's a lot to go over and a lot to learn, but the main thing I recommend is just to have that reports page open and really just know how to find the information from there. Just that's the best way to be comfortable on the day. That way you'll easily be able to spot if you're missing something or something looks out of the ordinary. Yeah, that's the best thing to do. I can see a couple of questions are coming through here as well, so I'll just jump onto these. But yeah, if anyone does have any questions or anything, please pop them in the Q&A. Or you can also flick me an email after this as well. I'm more than happy to chat to anyone about their verification if it's coming up soon. And just make sure you're really ready and feeling comfortable, because the last thing you want to do is feel stressed before your verification day. Perfect. How do we set our business to be closed on Sundays? Oh, cool. So if you want to set the close dates, if it's just for Sundays, there's a couple of different options here. So I might just jump back onto the computer screen. But this is done from either the close date section that we looked at in the My Business section before. So you can go down here to My Business, go to close dates. But this one's a little bit of a tedious process. If you were just doing Sundays, you can go through here and add in to select just the Sundays. So you go add dates, select the Sundays. I've done it here for weekends, and then save it from there. That one's a little bit more tedious. What I would do and what I recommend is when you go to forms, you just take the scheduling off for your daily forms on Sundays. So I'll change the schedule here to daily, so the scheduled ones will pop up at the top. That's it. So it's filtered by that one. I can see I've got my 5 or so daily scheduled forms, and then I'll just go and click the pencil button next to them. Opens up here, and I'll just scroll down to days of the week, and I'll just take off Sunday for all of my daily forms. Once you do that, you just click save, and then on your you'll have no forms that are expected to be completed when it comes to your Sundays. So that's the best way and easiest way to do it. That way you don't have to go through every weekend in your account, because that could take a little while. Cool, perfect. There's a couple more questions coming in here. Yes, definitely. Yeah, Rowan. So there's what you'll receive after this is a recording of the webinar. That will then, we'll flick it to you in an email. Probably, I think it comes out tomorrow morning from memory. And that way you can send it off to your staff if they need any more information, or your manager or anything like that. Once they've had a look, they can either flick questions to you to pass on to me, or they can just flick me an email at support@safefoodpro.co.nz or .com.au if you're in Australia. And I'll be able to help them with any specific questions from there as well. We do also store all of the webinars in our support library and on the website. So have a look at the webinar pages on there as well. It's got some previous ones on building forms and using the dashboard and some of our new release features and things like that too. Sometimes we add new forms. Oh, cool, Rahul. I'll flick you a message about that as well, because that's just more about your account. So I'll help you out with that one once we're done too. I'll flick you an email, and same with yours, Majinda. I'll be able to help you guys out with those. Cool. So it looks like we haven't got any more questions yet. What will happen when you guys leave the webinar is there's just a really short little survey at the end of it. If you could fill it out, that would be really helpful for us. But yeah, thank you for all tuning in. We really appreciate all the support. But if you do have any questions, just flick me an email, jump on our user group and check out our support library. We've got heaps of information and resources in there that'll help you guys out with your verification and just with the ongoing setup and use of your account. But yeah, if you haven't got any more questions, I think we'll just leave it there for today. But have an awesome rest of the day, and I'm sure I'll talk to all you guys soon. Thanks, guys. See ya.